Good morning. In this video, we will discuss about some of the properties in a metric space, like we discuss convergence in a metric space, continuity in a metric space, and completeness property in a metric space. So first of all, we'll discuss the convergent sequence. We say that a sequence xn is convergent in the metric space if limit dxn x is equal to be 0 for some x belongs to be x, that is xn converges to be x, and but for the diameter of a given set, like for a set m subset of ax, we define the diameter as the supremum of the distance between the two elements x and y, where x and y belongs to be a set m, and this set m is bounded if this delta m is finite. Now we'll discuss the first result. So let xn be a sequence in a metric space xd, then there is at most one point x such that the sequence xn converges to be x. That is, it is unique. Second one is if a sequence xn is convergent, then it is bounded. Third, if xn sequence converges to be x and yn converges to be y, then dxn yn converges to be dxy. We're going to discuss the first case. Suppose that the xn converges to be x and xn converges to be y, and assume that x is not equal to be y. And we know that the distance between the 2 points is always positive, so you can say that the dxy, because x is not equal to be y, so dxy is greater than 0. So then we can find a positive integer k and l such that d of xn comma x is less than epsilon by 2 for n is greater than equal to be k, and d of xn comma y is less than epsilon by 2 for n is greater than equal to be l. So choose the n which is the maximum of k and l. We can have dxy is less than equal to be d of x comma xn plus d of xn comma y by using a triangle inequality of the metric, which is less than epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2, which is equal to be epsilon. So hence the dxy, because the epsilon is arbitrary, so dxy is equal to 0. So hence we can conclude that it is impossible for a sequence xn to converge to two different points. Now we have to prove up the second part. If the sequence is convergent, then it is bounded. Suppose the sequence xn converges to be x. So now by the definition of the convergence, we can say that there is a positive integer k such that d of xn comma x is less than epsilon for n is greater than k. So now choose m as a maximum of epsilon d of x1 comma x, so on d of xk comma x. So then definitely the d of xn comma x is less than equal to be this m. So the sequence is bounded by the definition of a bounded. So now we have to prove the third one. If the sequence xn converges to be x and the yn converges to be y, then d of xn comma yn converges to be dxy. So assume that xn converges to be x and yn converges to be y. So we can consider the d of xn yn minus the dxy. And using our triangle inequality, this is less than equal to be d of xn comma x plus d of xy plus d of y comma yn minus dxy, which is equal to be d of xn comma x plus d of y comma yn. So interchanging the xn and ax and yn with respect to be y and multiplying it with the minus 1, we get dxy minus the dxn yn is less than equal to be d of axn comma x plus d of y comma yn. And using about these two inequalities, we get the modulus of a d of axy minus of a d of xn yn is less than equal to b d of axn comma x plus d of y comma y. Now as the xn converges to be x and the yn converges to be y, and taking up the limit n converges to be infinity, we found that d of a xn comma yn converges to be dxy. Now further we have a definition of a Cauchy sequence. So let xd be a metric space and xn be a sequence of points. We say that the sequence xn is a Cauchy if for every epsilon greater than 0 there exists an integer k such that d of a xn comma xm is less than epsilon if n and m is greater than or equal to be k. Now here if xn is a Cauchy sequence, then the sequence xn is a bounded. So take epsilon is equal to be 1. But since the sequence xn is a Cauchy, so there exists an integer k such that d of a xn comma xm is less than epsilon, which is equal to be 1 if n and m greater than or equal to be k. So suppose that m is equal to be k, then d of a xn comma xk is less than or equal to be 1 for n is greater than or equal to be k. So let t is greater than 1 be such that d of a xi comma xk is less than t for I is less than equal to be k minus 1. Then the xn belongs to be the ball having a center, the xk and a radius t for all n. So the sequence xn is bounded. Now if the sequence xn is a convergent, then the sequence xn is a Cauchy sequence. Assume that the xn converges to be x, then for a given epsilon greater than 0, there exists an integer k such that d of a xn comma x is less than epsilon by 2 for n is greater than equal to be k. So by taking n and m greater than equal to be k, d of a xn comma xm is less than equal to be d of a xn comma x plus d of a x comma xm by the triangle inequality. And using up the definition of a convergence, this is less than epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2, which is equal to be epsilon. So sequence xn is a Cauchy sequence. Now further, if a sequence is a Cauchy sequence and contains a convergent subsequence, then the sequence is a convergent. Assume that the sequence xn is a Cauchy sequence and xnk is a subsequence of a sequence xn such that the sequence xnk converges to be x. So here we have chosen up the subsequence is a convergent sequence. So let epsilon is greater than 0, and since we have chosen that the sequence xn is a convergent, so there exists say k dash such that the d of a xn comma xnk is less than epsilon by 2 for all n is greater than equal to k prime. So also since xnk converges to be x, so there exists a k double prime such that the d of a xnk comma x is less than epsilon by 2 for n greater than equal to be k double prime. So we choose a k which is a maximum of this k prime and k double prime. So then for n is greater than equal to be k, we consider the d of a xn comma x. This is less than equal to b of dxn comma dxnk by plus d of a xnk plus comma dx by using up a triangle inequality, which is less than epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2 is equal to be epsilon. So we can say that the xn converges to be x. So we have discussed up here in the previous theorem the sequence xn convergent and sequence xn is a Cauchy sequence. But the converse of this statement is not true. It will be true under some condition like a sequence xn is a Cauchy, and if it contains a convergent subsequence, only in that case a sequence xn is a convergent in a metric space. So a Cauchy sequence need not be converged. For example, say I consider a sequence xn which is equal to be 1 by n in a metric space xd, and I consider the x as a interval 0 1 and the metric as a usual metric as a x minus y. So here the sequence is a Cauchy in a 0 1, but it does not converge to any point of the interval as this sequence S1 converges to be 0 and 0 does not belongs to be this one. Now say this, check it out the whether this sequence is a Cauchy sequence or not. So for epsilon greater than 0, choose an integer k such that k is greater than 2 by epsilon. And let n and n greater than equal to be k. Such that the Pm is less than equal to be 1 by m less than epsilon by 2 and Pn is less than 1 by n less than epsilon by 2. Because we have taken up the usual matrix of d of a Pm comma Pn, which is equal to be Pm minus a Pn, which is less than equal to be Pm plus modulus of P by the triangle quality of a modulus plus the modulus of Pn. So less than equal to be 1 by m plus the 1 by n. So 1 by m and 1 by n both are less than epsilon by 2. So this is less than epsilon by 2 plus less than epsilon by 2, which is equal to be epsilon for every m and n greater than equal to be. So hence the sequence Ln is a Cauchy sequence. So now discuss the definition of completeness. A metric space x comma d is called complete if every Cauchy sequence in X converges to some point of X. So a subset of A of X is called complete if A is a as a metric subspace of Xt is complete. That is, every Cauchy sequence Xn in A converges to a point in A. So now we have a theorem which will be tell us about the completeness and the closeness. So let Xt be a complete metric space and A is a subset of X, or A is a subspace of X, you can say. Then A is a complete if and if only A is closed. So now we discuss the proof of this theorem. So let A be complete, the first case. Now we have to prove that the A is closed. So then for every X belongs to the closure of A, there is a sequence Xn which converges to be X. So now we have talked about the sequence Xn which converges to be X. So we can talk about convergence of lines of Cauchiness. So we can say the sequence Xn is a Cauchy sequence. And since A is complete, so this Xn converges to be some element of A. So Xn converges to be X which belongs to be A. So hence A is closed by the definition of a closeness. So conversely, let's suppose that A is a closed and Xn be a Cauchy sequence in A. Now as A is closed, you can say that here the Xn converges to be X belongs to be A. So which implies that X belongs to be a closure of A. So X belongs to be a A. So hence A is complete. So from here we can say that every closed subset of a complete metric space is a complete, or every complete subset of a metric space is closed. So now we can talk about a continuity. So let xt and yd1 be metric spaces and f be a function from x to y. Then the function f is said to be continuous at the point x0 if for every epsilon greater than 0 there exists a delta greater than 0 such that for all x belongs to be x, d of a x comma x naught is less than delta, we have d1 of a fx comma fx naught is less than epsilon. So from this we have this following result which will tell us about the continuity at the point. So let f be a function from a metric space x to a metric space y and x naught be any arbitrary point in x. Then the function f is continuous at x naught if and only if for every sequence xn such that xn converges to be x naught, f of xn converges to be f of x naught. We can say that f is continuous if and if only for every convergent sequence xn in X, limit fxn is equal to be f of limit of x. Now suppose that f is continuous at x naught and xn converges to be x naught. Now we have to prove that f of xn converges to be f of x naught. So let epsilon be greater than 0 be given. So by definition of continuity at the x naught, there exists a delta greater than 0 such that for all x belongs to be x, if d of x comma x naught is less than delta, then d1 of fx comma fx naught is less than epsilon. Now since we have given that the xn converges to be x, so there exists an integer k such that for all n greater than or equal to be k, d of a xn comma x naught is less than delta. Hence, d1 of f of xn comma f of x naught is less than epsilon for all n greater than or equal to be k. That is, f of xn converges to be f of x naught. Now conversely, assume that the f is not continuous at x naught. So then there exists some epsilon greater than 0 such that for every delta greater than 0 there exists a point x belongs to Bx satisfying d of a x comma x naught less than delta. But d1 of fx comma fx naught is greater than equal to b epsilon because the f is not continuous at x naught. So for each n, take a delta which is equal to be 1 by n and choosing the n is equal to be 1, 2 and so on. And choose xn such that d of a xn comma x naught is less than 1 by n. But d1 of f of xn comma f of x naught is greater than equal to b epsilon. Hence xn converges to be x naught, but the sequence f of xn does not converge to f of x naught, which is not true as per our assumption. Because xn converges to be f of x naught, then f of xn converges to be f of x naught. Hence our assumption is not true. So you can say that f is continuous. Thank you. These are the